It is everything he taught. The kingdom of heaven is within you. Be there. I'll show you how. Well, welcome to those of you who are going to join us later on YouTube and through the website. Just say once again what it is that we are doing here, and also to say that the camera I've set up means that it will record the meditation now, but I'll switch it off, and when we come to share, after about half an hour to 40 minutes, when we come to that sharing, the camera will be off. So all that will appear on the screen is the meditation. Every Monday there is a meditation from the School of Christian Mysticism at 9:30 following morning prayer, and Joe, Viv and I take turns to present that. It just happens to be my turn today. During morning prayer over the last week or so, we've been reading, as the Hebrew Bible reading in the morning, the book of Daniel, and we've been following Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, who has taken Daniel and his companions, as well as most of the people from Jerusalem, the Israelites, taken them into slavery, many of them, in Babylon, after destroying Jerusalem. But the story of Daniel has been how Daniel prophetically has translated dreams of Nebuchadnezzar, where his magicians and prophets, paid prophets of the court, were unable to do so. And Daniel has shown him God, but Nebuchadnezzar is completely operating within his own ego. And although he gets down and actually worships Daniel at one point, and seems to have some kind of understanding that Daniel's God is all powerful and no other God is powerful, nevertheless he has no relationship with God. Doesn't even seem to know that it's possible. And so he makes an idol of God and builds a golden statue which he commands all the people to bow to. Of course, Daniel and his companions won't do that. And last week we had the story of the companions of Daniel in the fire, being untouched by the flames. And praying to God. We use the canticle that came from that this morning. So in this morning's reading, Nebuchadnezzar has been told by Daniel that he's going to be stripped of everything. He's going to have to live with the wild animals. And then this comes to pass. He's told that his kingdom will be restored. But after 7 times passed in the wilderness, 7 times, of course the number 7 in the Hebrew Bible is a number of symbolizing completeness, perfection. So when your transformation has been completed, your kingdom will be restored. And we see Nebuchadnezzar coming out of it with some kind of wisdom. In the Revelation, it is only the Lamb that is worthy to open the scroll with the 7 seals. The 7 keeps recurring in Revelation as well. It is only the Lamb who has been completed, who knows her true self. When Jesus speaks in the Gospels time and time again, he says, it's not me that's teaching you. It is the one who sent me. It is the source, my mother, father. It is the source of being that speaks to you. And I call you back to the source. Who are you? Who are you? Nebuchadnezzar went into the wild, at the grass with the animals. Who he thought he was stripped away. We have so many personas that we put on, some of them consciously, many of them unconsciously, to suit the roles that we play. And it's so easy to forget that they are roles, just roles, and that we are acting. And we can so easily become identified with the actor, or more so with the character that's acted. That's why we need meditation. We need contemplation. We need to find that path to stillness. This morning, let's find a path. A wilderness path. For some of us, meditation is very difficult, particularly if we have a thinking preference as opposed to a feeling preference. We choose or like, or our default is to figure things out, wanting to know how everything works. Now when we descend to the heart, then it becomes much easier. There's a book called Backpacking with the Saints by Belden C. Lane. Belden C. Lane is a writer, theologian, and traveller, hiker. He's in his late 70s now, or early 80s, still hiking as far as I know. He speaks about wilderness, and he seems to me to be somebody who is of a thinking preference, and experiencing nature helps him to descend to the heart. He always takes with him some writings by mystics, and in this book we can see him using the writings and the experience of nature to bridge this gap between his mind and his heart. But I'm just going to read to you something he says about nature, about being in nature, and the experience that leads him into contemplation and into a realization and an understanding and a being within the completeness of everything, not separated. The mind separates us, so when we're figuring everything out, we're taking a position that is separate. but nature can help us. He says, whenever I plunge into wilderness, my body and the environment move in and out of each other in an intimate pattern of exchange. I wade through water and inhale air filled with the scent of honeysuckle. I'm wrapped in cobwebs and pierced by briars. I swallow gnats drawn to the sweat on my body and feel the rocks on the trail through my boots. Where I end and everything else begins isn't always clear. What seems to be me doesn't stop at the fixed boundary of my skin. I come back with the sun having deeply penetrated this presumably impassable barrier. Rain and cold, not to mention poison ivy, chiggers and ticks, move across this thin boundary of me with complete abandon. My skin isn't a rigid line of demarcation, but a permeable membrane that opens me to continual interchange with others. My personal identity is stretched to include the aching beauty of an alpine meadow, of the raucous cry, or the raucous cry of loons on the other side of the lake. We let nature permeate us, and we find that we are not separate from it. When you go into nature, particularly if you go in there and stay the night, or a few nights, or a long time, doesn't matter. One of the first things that very quickly becomes apparent is that nature pays no attention to who you think you are, to all the programs of your mind, and it's not interested. Nature will treat you well if you treat her well. She will let you experience God and show you your true nature. If you just spend time in touching her and in stillness with her, stop labeling her. As soon as we label a tree, we've lost the experience. A swallow, we don't experience the swallow. We can go around naming everything. As we do, we separate ourselves and lose the experience. The Tao Te Ching begins, the Tao that is named the Tao is not the Tao. Jesus of Nazareth is never less than reluctant to accept the titles offered to him. The label Son of Man, he might use the Son of Man as a form of speech, I, me. But Son of God, Messiah, King, and so on. You might say to Pilate, will you say I am King? It's your word. I simply am. Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? Let's take a time in meditation now. If you want to, you can walk into nature now. Otherwise, just sit here where you are. It doesn't really matter. No technique is necessary. We can use our imagination to go into the forest or down by the beach, out into the desert, or to your favorite place to be. Or we can just sit here and notice the noise around us. Either way, whether you choose to go into the wild or just sit here, we are in a liminal space because we have made this time to meditate. Just wherever you are, notice how you sit, how you stand. Feel your feet on the ground. And sit up or stand up straight. Engage the core and the lower back and just relax your shoulders. Let the top of your head touch the stars, the sky. Maybe notice how you are rooted in the earth. You can draw much power from here. And be open to the sky. I'm going to lead you a little in a breathing meditation to begin with, but it's not actually necessary, it's just something we can do. But all that is necessary is simply to be here. You don't need to do anything. The thoughts that come through your mind now and later, don't fight them. Just accept that they are there. But just lay down all those characters that the actor portrays. Just lay them down. You can pick them up later if you want them. But for now, let them go. just notice your breath as you breathe in and breathe out. As I breathe in, I know I'm breathing in. As I breathe out, I know I'm breathing out. Like this, I become aware that I'm here. And maybe the sounds in the room or in the forest, wherever you are, and the smells, they may become a bit stronger here. Rich, but I don't need to name myself. I'm just here. Just stay with the flow of the energy. Whatever thoughts come through your mind, just see them and let them go. Come back to the breath, back to the energy, back to the source. And maybe you can begin to observe your body doing this breathing. Observe the energy, spirit, light, flow, water, moving through your body, connecting you with all that is, connecting with the earth, the universe, creation, creator. There is no separation here. Maybe you can observe the breather. Just as you observe the thoughts and the sounds around you. The nature permeating your skin. As you observe all this, know that none of it can be defined as being you. Not the brain, not the body, not even the experience. What is experiencing? Who is this awareness? Who are you? the joy of being. There's nothing to do. We'll continue like this for 5 minutes. Nothing to do. Who are you? our true nature is stillness. The source from which we come. The deep listening of pure contemplation is the path to stillness. All words disappear into it, and all creation awakens to the delight of just being. The kingdom of heaven is within you. Who are you?